To begin, we are logged into the system as the dispensing operator and viewing the PharmaSuite welcome page. Here is the user's name, for this example, Alberto Rossi, who is currently connected to the system. The page also shows the work center we are connected to, Dispense 1. The welcome page has a list of applications and functions which can be configured to the user's profile. This way, every user need only access relevant functions. It is from this page we start the Production Execution Client, the framework used to execute shop orders. At the top of Production Execution Client, the connected workstation is listed, again in this case, Dispense 1. The main screen is divided into two parts. On the left, a list of startable workflows. Just like the welcome page, this list can also be configured for specific users. Each user logging into this client will see only those workflows that are applicable to their role. The right side of the screen displays running workflows, which we will address later. Let's start by executing our shop order. Select Recipe Processing. This brings up a list of all the order steps that have been released to this work center. In this example, we have only one. Each order step includes the order step ID and status, the description of the material to be produced, the expected quantity to be produced, and a target batch number. Begin the order step by selecting the corresponding row. This brings us back to the main screen. On the right, we now see the running workflow corresponding to the order step, which we just selected. Before we continue, let's look at a possible scenario. I am now an employee responsible for quality aspects. While in my office in the Quality Assurance Department, I'm checking what's happening on the shop floor by watching the PharmaSuite Exception Dashboard. As I mentioned, the weigh and dispense capability of PharmaSuite is within the EBR framework. The Exception Dashboard is the tool that will be used by the quality personnel to perform a real-time review of both executed or running shop orders. Here, our shop order is displayed. It consists of 3 steps represented by these 3 rectangles: weigh and dispense, production, and packaging. The dispense rectangle is now blue, with the wheel on the left indicating the execution of the corresponding order step is underway. Once again, let's go back to our imaginary operator. We are in the weighing booth, working with the Production Execution Client. The blue button, displayed below the order step, corresponds to the first operation we have to execute. The operation contains several phases, with the system simply driving us through them all. This ensures the weighing process will be properly performed. Selecting this blue button tells the system to show us the first phase we have to execute. Please remember, this workflow is not fixed and is only an example on how the system can provide guidance to the operator. Back to our example. The first phase shows the operator some textual instructions to verify the cleaning stages of the room. Please note the leanness of the PharmaSuite screen. The active phase is highlighted in blue, while all other phases are grayed out, putting the focus on the information the operator really needs. In fact, PharmaSuite only highlights relevant information at the moment the user needs it, making the work effective and secure. Now let's perform our visual checks and confirm. At this point, we are required to record the room temperature. The temperature should be within limits, otherwise an exception will come up. We'll generate an exception by typing in 30 degrees. It is important to remember that the exception text you see here in the pop-up is configurable. While designing the master recipe, you are able to define the message text that needs to be displayed in case of an exception. In order to sign off for this exception, we enter our username and password. We can also enter a comment stating a reason for this exception. A comment is not mandatory, but may offer some clarification. Then sign off. However, if this comment should be highlighted for quality personnel, a flag can be raised. After signing off on the exception, PharmaSuite shows the corresponding phase is marked with a red triangle at the corner in the upper left. It is also possible to return to the Quality Assurance Office to get a quick look at the exception dashboard. It displays the weigh and dispense order step that we are executing, which is also turned red. The number 1, now displayed on the left-hand side, means that an exception was recorded and needs to be handled. Selecting this will show more details regarding this exception and allows quality personnel to add their comments. Temperature should be rechecked. Set the risk to medium. Status is in review. Note to record and sign off. The number 1 has now shifted position due to the status of the exception. It was previously open, and now it is in review. The important feature to be emphasized is that the batch record review and the related exception handling can be in real time, in parallel with the process execution. Let's go back to the weighing booth, where we now confirm the recording of the temperature. Now we can sign off to confirm that the line clearance checks have been executed properly. As you can see, the user signing must belong to the dispensing operator user group. After the signature has been confirmed, the system automatically attaches a timestamp. Now we can start with the real weighing workflow. From this point on, we can interact with the system just by using the barcode reader. In fact, most of the following tasks that we're going to perform, such as identifying an ingredient quantity, scale selection, and confirming the phase execution, can be carried out by scanning the barcode. You will find it attached to the scale, the container, or here on the screen, on the right-hand side of the Confirm button. Let's identify our first ingredient by scanning the container. We identify the active first at the plant quantity of 200 grams. After scanning, you will see that the plant quantity has increased from 200 grams to 222 grams. This is due to the recalculation that the system made based on the actual potency of the identified batch, which is 90%. The weighing mode and scale selection phase is now activated. Again, the operator sees only the information relevant to the task being executed in this phase, highlighted in blue. The upper half of the phase block contains a set of weighing methods. The selected method in yellow was pre-selected by the system according to the recipe definition. The others in green are available but have not been selected. The bottom half of the phase block displays the list of scales that were configured for the work center to which we are connected. This scale in yellow was also pre-selected by the system. The others in green are available but have not been selected. Keeping the system presets, we confirm by scanning the barcode located on the scale. Next, record the tare. Place an empty target container on the scale and confirm to record the weight. Now we begin weighing the material. The target weight is displayed on the right-hand side of this phase block, corresponding to the real-time scale displayed. The current weight is represented by the black vertical bar on the left side. The green bar represents tolerance ranges. As we begin weighing, the size of the green bar grows more rapidly as we approach the target weight. When the amount of ingredients enters the tolerance ranges, the green bar reaches its maximum size. Simultaneously, the black vertical bar, the current weight, begins to move inside the tolerance zones. After confirming, the system generates a label for the target container. All relevant information is contained on the label, including material description, the identifier, the quantity ID, the expiration date of the dispensed batch, the batch number of the dispensed material, and the target batch number, the batch of material we are going to produce. The label also includes a reference to the order step that we are currently executing and to the work center we are connected to while executing our task. The net quantity of the dispensed material and the tare accounts for the weight of the container. In the footer, additional information is included: the username of the operator and a timestamp on the left, the label ID on the right. This ID is to enable reprinting this exact label in a controlled manner. In fact, the system is provided with a label history and reprint function, through which it is possible to reprint this exact copy of this document. In order to challenge the system, let's scan a wrong batch. PharmaSuite sends a message that the batch we tried to identify is not accessible because it is quarantined and does not have released status. A similar message will also be generated in case the batch has released status but is too close to the expiration or retest date. How close can be predefined within the master recipe. This time we'll scan a suitable batch. We again confirm the system presets by scanning the barcode attached to the scale. Place the target container on the scale and, using the scanner, confirm the tare. As we begin dispensing material and before entering into the tolerance range, the system may identify a problem, such as an empty source container or full target container. Select Confirm. In this instance, the system offers 3 options. The first option applies if the underweight is due to an empty source container. By selecting Scale or by scanning the scale barcode ID, the system will look back and allow the user to identify a new source container. The second option applies if the underweight is due to a full target container. The target container must be removed from the scale and replaced with a new, empty container. Selecting Printer or scanning the printer barcode ID tells the system to print out a label for the full target container, which is why it was removed from the scale. The system then looks back to record the tare of the new, empty container. The third option is to go back if none of the previous situations occurred, and that applies to our case so far. When the dispensed quantity is within the tolerance ranges, we confirm by scanning the barcode on the scale. The system is now printing the label for the target container. The label includes data consistent with the measured material, compensator, net weight, and tare. Provided we have completed the weighing operation for all of our ingredients, the system can now generate the optional weighing report. The option of a printout can be included in the master recipe as it's being configured. For customers who will be running PharmaSuite as a full-blown electronic batch record, the printout of the final report may be an accessory, as there will be no more paper batch records to be attached. On the other hand, all data registered during the execution of the weighing operation is already a part of the electronic batch record. As mentioned earlier, PharmaSuite is providing its dispensing functionalities from within its electronic batch record framework. For customers who will be running PharmaSuite only in their dispensing department, and for those who still require a piece of paper for operational purposes, the system can generate a weighing report. In our case, we select No and skip printing out the weighing report. In this instance, the system requires the dispensing supervisor to sign off to complete the operation. Before signing off as the supervisor, say I decide to look over the executed phases by scrolling up and down the screen. I note the exception and decide to recheck the temperature and enter an updated value. To do so, I press this button, which brings us to the navigator screen. Here is a listing of all the executed phases connected to the current operation. Entering this page allows me to leave comments or corrections for any of the listed phases. For our purposes, the temperature has been verified, and we state the value is 26 degrees instead of 30. Click Confirm to repair and sign off on the correction. We decide to add another comment. The thermometer was repaired. Risk low, status open, and we sign off to confirm. By selecting the left arrow at the bottom of the screen, we toggle back to the workflow screen and sign off as supervisor to complete the weigh and dispense operation. Selecting Confirm ends the order step. PharmaSuite returns to the Production Execution Client main screen. On the right, in the Running Workflow area, our order step is no longer listed because it has been completed. Stepping back in our role as quality assurance personnel, we return to the Quality Assurance Office. Listed now is the exception that was generated during the final phase of the weigh and dispense operation, and an additional 1 related to the correction that was performed by the supervisor. Temperature has been corrected. With this explanation, we close the first exception. State that the risk is low, status is closed, result non-event. Add a comment and enter signature. The page now reflects that because the 1 that was in the middle has shifted to the right, representing the resolution of the exception. The only remaining exception is related to the corrected value, which is satisfactory. Set the risk to low, status closed, result note to record, and signature. The rectangle which corresponds to the weigh and dispense order step has turned green to show that all exceptions related to this case have received the appropriate response. Before leaving this dashboard, let's take a quick look at another feature of PharmaSuite. Selecting the second or third button on the left generates either a PDF or an HTML version of the executed batch record. We select an HTML version of the executed batch record. It has a header containing process order-related information, such as process order number, material to be produced, planned quantity. While here we have the exception section similar to what we already saw within the exception dashboard. And finally, the rest displays the complete logging of all the executed phases and operations.